You are a danger to society and you're a danger to children if you're showing them pornographic images.
Yes.
That's it.
Hustler, for instance, is nudity. This is actual sex. This book is showing it's cartoon sex, but it's sexuality. That's a little different than nudity.
And are the people depicted...
Again, the image that they're all in uproar over is someone stating they do not enjoy having sexual intercourse. It's not like this was the hottest moment of my life, and in this moment I knew that I loved this activity. It's that this was something that I realized that I did not want to do. That's the purpose of that point in the book.
So 18 years and up, so why would anyone complain that it's not allowed in schools?
Yeah.
Oh, they just got disproven in real time. That's amazing. Like, oh, this is like it's being marketed to children. It's like it says 18 plus. Well, I mean, my friends, ultimately, then why would it ever be in schools? You know? I have in my hands the very book. Yes, that is correct. The banned book itself. Genderqueer. The most dangerous book in America. The one that every conservative is so eager to burn. I bought it and I read it, and it was a lovely story. An absolutely lovely story. It's a coming of age story about an individual who happens to be agender as well as asexual. It was the asexual part that really surprised me, because so much of the outrage that conservatives have made about this book have been about how the whole thing is porn. The whole thing is a pornographic novel. I'm actually going to read out to you today. So if you wanted some ASMR Lance porn, I'm going to read out the passages from the book that they're most upset about. Big mad. After, of course, finding out why Tim Pool is so angry about this. But it was about discovering one's own asexuality, which I did not know going into the experience.
Let's. We actually have a story to talk about with stuff. We have this from the New York Times. It is how a debut graphic memoir became the most banned book in the country.
That's crazy.
Maya Kobabi's book, Genderqueer, about coming out as a non-binary, landed the author at the center of a battle over which books belong in schools and who gets to make the decision. So I don't know if you could pull that up and we can show the image.
Can we?
What? It's just the article from the New York Times.
Okay, yeah.
So the issue here is the New York Times won't actually show you what's in the book.
Right.
Because what actually got this book banned from libraries is sexually graphic images, and the book's directed at minors. I can only describe it that way. If I were to actually say what the book showed, then parents would probably be upset, which I can respect. But YouTube absolutely would give us a flag.
1,000,000%.
Well, so what'll happen is when the show's over, we'll go and it'll give us the yellow demonetization thing. Then we got to request it. If I describe to you the images in the book because they're sexually graphic, we will get confirmed demonetized, and the clip from the show will also be demonetized. And you could potentially, YouTube will punish you with down ranking. So they used to do this in the past where they would apply codes to your channel, which would make it harder for people, like shadow banning, basically.
Yeah.
If I tell you what's in the book, and this book showing sexually graphic images was being put in school libraries, and when people complain about it, the New York Times defends the book, doesn't show any of the images. Why? Wow. Could you imagine what would happen to the New York Times if they...
As they scroll down and there's one of the images on the screen. I guess this one isn't sexual enough though, right?
Showed these graphic images. It's people doing things. It is cartoon images drawn of the author, by the author, showing people engaging in activities. We'll call it that.
It's young people though, isn't it?
Yes.
One depicts minors.
Oh my goodness.
One of the images. I think they both might depict minors.
What makes this the most banned book? Like,
so again, it's a coming of age story where Air is explaining their own journey, discovering their own asexuality. And in the course of that, yes, they do tell some of Air's stories in the book. That's part of the novel.
what is the... How
Think
do they
about
quantify that?
Think about what they're saying with this. A book with sexually graphic materials was in a children's school library and got removed. It's the most banned book. Yeah, well, Hustler is not allowed in the school library either.
Yeah, Hustler is definitely more of a banned book.
Okay, so they're basically comparing it to Hustler. So I figured now would be a good time as ever to do some story time. I have the book in question. I have read it already. And this is a opening segment to the part that is the one that is very concerning to conservatives right now. I can show you this part. This is two individuals who are walking on the beach at this part of the book, and they are describing sexuality, and they are starting a relationship. This is, again, a relationship with someone who is not aromantic, so they're interested in being in relationships, but they are asexual, so they don't want to have sexual intercourse with the other individual, and they're trying to be transparent and open about it, okay? So here we go. This is the horrifying pornography on display. In the interest of transparency, you should know I'm 25 years old and I've never had sex. I haven't kissed anyone since elementary school. My main kink is autoandrophilia. Penetration is a hard no for me, and I'm rarely grossed out by some bodily fluids, so unfortunately I probably won't be feeling comfortable going down on you. I'm literally, any of that is a deal breaker for you, I will completely understand. If you want to bow out at the end of this date, of any reason, I won't be offended. None of that is a deal breaker for me. Yay. There's actually something I should tell you too. Oh yeah, what's that? I decided to stop shaving my pubic hair and legs because, well, I've been doing it for like 10 years and I don't want to do that anymore, but all my hair is kind of half grown in right now. Hopefully that's not too gross for you. That's no big deal. I literally have all the hair over every part of my body. Have you ever shaved your pubic hair? Nope. That's so brave. Brave? I always thought of it as lazy. And now, the point in question. Fast forward, we've been dating for 2 months. The picture, which I will not show because it's probably going to be against Twitch's terms of service, they're quite against this, is the one that you've seen all over the outrage. Conservatives would blow it up and put it up on cue cards and stuff. That looks to be someone sucking on another person's penis. That's what the image looks like when you first just see the top one and the only one conservatives are trying to show. It turns out, in the actual novel, it is not a penis, it is a strap-on, and the person who is experiencing that says, I can't feel anything, and they don't enjoy it. They say, let's try something else, of course, and the next page, they're lying in bed, and the horrors of this book are over. It is, again, about someone who is asexual, who does not like experiencing sexual contact directly with others, and their discovery of that. And that is the moment in the book where they discover that. I'd only seen the clip that was all over conservative media, and then they were running around saying, well, look at this. This is like cartoon animation of two people, giving each other blowjobs and all that kind of stuff. Again, it is one person simulating receiving a blowjob, but they, in fact, are wearing a strap-on and saying that they did not like that activity. Now, if you want to say that that's inappropriate to be available for very young kids, that is one thing. If you say that this is something worthy of being banned from public libraries, if this is something worthy of being banned from public stores, if this is something worthy of being banned from stores in general, which I'm sorry, conservatives like to point out that this is something that has been effectively banned by conservatives in public school libraries. But this is, again, if you continue to read that New York Times article, a book that is effectively trying to be banned everywhere in the US where conservatives are trying to push for their own culture war. And a large reason is because, again, they haven't read the book, because if they had, they'd know that it was dealing primarily with asexual individuals, and also it's a exploration of someone's coming-of-age story to discover that about themselves. It is not promoting sexual intercourse between young people. It is not teaching young people the best ways to experience sexual intercourse. It is simply someone telling their own POV story from the point of view, this is how I grew up, this is my life story, and I just wanted to share it with all of you because when I was younger, I didn't have something like this, and I had a lot of trouble discovering who I was. Not until much later in my life that I started to discover these things. That's it.
Yeah.
Better
That's
articles,
disgusting.
too.
Oh, but Hustler was never put in and then banned, so technically it wasn't.
Right. Technically, yeah.
No,
yeah.
it was always banned.
Yeah. It's just
If
started out banned.
It was never allowed.
So where is the line? And this is why I think when it comes to left and right, it's just literally tribe. It's like, do you bend the...
Like, at the most, if conservatives were actually being intellectually honest about this, you could say that they would like to have a version of this one available if it's going to be seen by high schoolers, where they remove that one page. It's literally one page in the entire book that has the images that are so blasphemous. Unless they're also talking about, there's another part in the book that talks about experiencing periods for the first time, and our air experiences a period, and when they do, they're obviously very weirded out by the entire experience, and that there's some drawings that include, heaven forbid, but blood. Maybe that could be another point, but it is the furthest thing from pornography. Like the entire book, again, is an exploration of someone's asexuality.
Need to what the left is. Because if a kid walked into a grade school with a Hustler, the teachers would freak out. Mm-hmm. If a kid walks in with this book, well, it's educational.
Well, it's not just the kid walking in with it. It's the teacher walking in with it and showing it to the kids.
Right to jail.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. They should be in prison.
Yeah,
And
really.
Hustler, that should, I mean, you are a danger to society and you're a danger to children if you're showing them pornographic images.
Yes.
That's it.
Hustler, for instance, is nudity. This is actual sex. This
is
book is
bad.
showing it's cartoon sex, but it's sexuality. That's a little different than
And are
nudity.
the people depicted...
Again, the image that they're all in uproar over is someone stating they do not enjoy having sexual intercourse. It's not like this was the hottest moment of my life, and in this moment I knew that I loved this activity. It's that this was something that I realized that I did not want to do. That's the purpose of that point in the book.
Are they actually depicting minors in these cartoon images? In these drawings they're doing?
I'm pretty sure the most notorious image from this, which depicts an adult activity between two people, is they're minors. I'm pretty sure the point of the book.
You can't tell. Yeah, if you can't tell, you got to err on.
Okay, just to be sure, because they announced it a page before, like literally a page before the scene. All right, let me just make sure I got. In the interest of transparency, you should know I'm 25 years old and I've never had sex. It's right there. Oh, sorry, right there. There you have it. 25 years old. 25 years old before the incredibly horrifying porn begins in the novel.
On the side of yes, they're a minor. It's called lolly. You know, you can't.
I always like, well, we don't know because none of us have actually read the book, but I'm just going to err on the side of that it's hardcore pornography between kids. I'm also going to compare it to the other form of hardcore pornography between kids that they have in Japan, and you wouldn't want that in schools, would you? So there you go.
Mess with cartoons of young-looking people.
But look at this. Look at this. This woman here, they're like, the New York Times gets this woman to come out. Her name is Mandy Zhang of Wappingers Fall, New York, is planning to start a banned book club. Hey, all right, we can show up and bring Playboy with us because that's not allowed in schools either, right? This is the fascinating thing to me because I hear this argument from the left where they're like, they're trying to ban books. And I'm like, there are tons of books that are legitimately banned from these schools. When they talk about, wanting to ban critical race theory books, just as a blanket statement, I can't remember who we had on the show, but I was like, I don't want to do that. I think schools, depending on the age, should critically discuss what this book is. My issue is when they inject the ideology into their classes without telling you what they're teaching you is the praxis of critical race theory.
What about having...
Yeah, but wait, what if you were like a 17 or an 18-year-old and you happen to be either agender or asexual and you've never read any literature that references what it is to be either of those things? Do you not think it would be appropriate to have a novel that talks from a first-person perspective what it is like to grow up and to be those things? And again, this is about asexuality. I know they haven't really wrapped their heads around that concept, but this isn't promoting sexual activity amongst minors. It's about, and in that point in the story, a 25-year-old discovering that they did not like having, sexually suggestive contact with other human beings. That is the point.
I don't want books banned, but here's my point. It's not a banned book club to bring porn. You're like, these books are actually, that's a great
Sounds like an awesome book club, by the way.
right?
Yeah, no, that's a good no.
I love that. Yeah, it would be really inappropriate if students were allowed to just bring porn to school. Yeah, but that would be lit, bro. I know, right? Titties. We all love titties. Fuck yeah.
That's
I've never considered joining a book club.
Yeah,
before.
That's a sketch or a cartoon. So we got two comedians who make content. You can either of you can take it, where people are like, it's a banned book club, and the book I bought is Playboy.
But they're making the argument for why the books should be banned too.
Yes.
Well, what do you mean?
They just don't realize it. Like, can you believe? Like, they're making.
But again, the problem being is that they all keep equating it to hardcore porn, every single one of them. And like, I know it's because they haven't read it. Because if they had read it, this would be a very thin line to try and base your entire. Oh, this deserves to be banned in every library in America.
Making an argument in favor of banning books because when you use the phrase book ban, it doesn't really have a positive connotation.
Oh,
when you're like, there's this book ban, look what's on it. And you're like, maybe we should have a book ban.
Maybe
you shouldn't let children look at everything in schools.
It's easy to make your own book now too. So any psycho can make a book about crazy stuff, get it in under the censor radar. Like Amazon, you can publish your own stuff on Amazon.
If you posted these pictures on Instagram, they would ban you.
Yeah. Well, and look,
They would delete the post and give you a warning.
Yeah.
Well, and look at, you had Amazon insiders complaining about Matt Walsh's book, Johnny the Walrus, being #1. And if I'm not mistaken, they were actually trying to derank that.
I don't know about deranking, but
Okay,
they got it removed from children's.
Okay, yeah, so they had it removed from the children's
Yeah.
section, so that's not acceptable. But
It's not-
showing graphic lewd images, as far as we understand, which actually depict minors,
Yes.
is acceptable. That is hideously disgusting.
Is there a way for people to find this image?
This book is not sold in the children's section. What are you talking about? This is not like, okay, I could be wrong on this. Let's go to Amazon.ca. Genderqueer is currently in. Hey, #1 bestseller in LGBTQ2S+ graphic novels. It's in the LGBTQ+ section, by the way. Oh, it's beating the Walrus one. Matt Walsh, are you no longer in the top 100? There's multiple ones. How to be ace? Fucking. Huh. Matt Walsh is not even in the top 25? Or maybe that's what they're complaining about. They say that I got delisted. Alright. Sticky Dilly Buns. That looks fun.
So they know what we're talking about without
It's
actually
on
having to
Twitter
show
all
it.
over.
No, yeah,
I mean, if you Google
I don't even
search
want to
it,
encourage people to look
Yeah,
for
it's
it.
not
I mean,
good.
it's like,
But you-
know thine enemy.
You do need to know what's in this book because the way the New York Times
Then why
painted
haven't
this
any of
is
you
they
read
took
it?
a picture that she didn't even put in the book and they said, "Oh, this is what the artist draws." And it's like, "Oh, Mom, I think I might be bi." Oh, that's so sweet. How could Republicans possibly want to ban this if this is actually what's in the book? That's crazy. They're just being mean. But that is not what's in the book. And I was so relieved to see that this tweet that the New York Times put out.
So the vast majority of it is 100% like adorable coming of age moments of that. Especially someone growing up and realizing that they didn't like being identified as a girl or a woman at various parts in their lives. This early part is talking about how they didn't know how to read, how they were taught how to read. I think by Ayer's aunt earlier in the novel. My Waldorf elementary school, hey, that was mine. What are you, a boy or a girl? Later, I couldn't tell, but I was glad I couldn't tell, or he couldn't tell. It wasn't unusual for boys to have long hair. In my class, 18 students, 4 boys had hair brushed to their shoulders. I remember a field trip I took with my class in 3rd grade. We were visiting the farm next to a river. It was hot afternoon with our teacher said we could take off our shoes and socks. It was embarrassing for me. My teacher intervened. So people started calling me a boy. Look, Maya took her shirt off like a boy. What? Haha. Maya, dear, you should put your shirt back on. Why? You just need to put it back on. Neither of my parents were interested in enforcing gender roles. A lot of that was about how Ayer's very fortunate to have parents who were very welcoming. Weaver, sewer, knitter, broom maker, preschool handwork teacher, degree in botany, loves camping. Father's a hippie, degree in physics. They both were very welcoming and loving. There's like 2 pages in this entire book that deal with sexuality. The vast majority deals with experiences and situations where Ayer's in like, you know, a room and multiple people are, misgendering Ayer and stuff like that. Like it's the furthest thing from just hardcore porn, the novel.
About this article got freaking ratioed
Good.
right to heck because everyone's like, this is what's actually in the book. I was like, did you guys put the picture in the article? Of course they didn't.
Can you scroll? Does it say 18 years and up?
Yes, it does. It does
then
indeed.
where does
Isn't
it say that?
It says right
crazy?
there,
Yeah,
18 years and
hey,
up.
Look at that.
Where exactly is it? I don't know.
Reading age and the little the icons.
Which
The,
way?
like,
Just going to interrupt this for 1 second. New CDC bought location data tracking tens of millions of people from a Peter Thiel-backed spy firm. Use cases included hourly monitoring of activities in curfew zones, activity in school and houses of worship, and monitoring the Navajo Nation. Bum, bum, bum. But I'm sure he's going to do a big segment on that because he cares deeply about the overreach and the monitoring of the public. So there you go.
no, like the all the row of icons.
Down.
Oh, here.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
so
18
specifically,
ages.
and it's not even
Hey.
it's not a kid's book.
#1 bestseller in historical and biographical fiction graphic novels. It's not the kids section.
They
No,
say
it's not.
historical and
Fascinating.
biographical
Yeah.
fiction graphic novel.
I mean, they say that, but is it really true?
So 18 years and up. So why would anyone complain that it's not allowed in schools?
Yeah.
Oh, they just got disproven in real time. That's amazing. Like, oh, this is like it's being marketed to children. It's like it says 18 plus. Well, I mean, my friends, ultimately, then why would it ever be in schools? You know?
Although I
Because
guess
they're perverts who want to groom kids.
Yeah,
That's literally it.
Yeah.
Ah, there it is.
Or they're ignorant and they're foot soldiers for a mass movement of psychosis. I've been overusing that word psychosis. I know that it is.
I don't think it's possible to look at
Dozens-
this book and claim ignorance.
New York Times.
By the way, the reason Moonlord is called Moonlord is because he's got videos where he's screaming into the camera about mining on the moon, and it's like it's Shia LaBeouf levels, like, you know, they just do it, but instead it's like mine the moon.
Dozens of schools pulled it from library shelves.
Yes.
Republican officials in North and South Carolina, Texas, and Virginia called for the book's removal, sometimes labeling it pornographic.
Okay, but
Suddenly, Kababe was at the center of a nationwide battle over which books belong in schools. Yo, Amazon says 18 and up.
the scandal is that these were in schools in the first place.
Isn't there constantly
Yeah.
too like a blue state?
Yeah,
red
let's
state
shift the
debate where,
goalposts a little
blue
bit,
states
but-
go, these are the books we don't think are appropriate, and it'll be like Huckleberry Finn or something.
Right.
Yeah,
To
it's
Kill a
like-
Mockingbird in
or whatever, you know,
California.
like
Yeah.
they kind of go back and forth, and it's weird that they have it's usually race and sex. And,
But hold on. Look, if the left, this is the derangement and the twisted nature of the activist left. Any leftist could come out and start speaking out against this and be like, this book shouldn't have been in there. We don't see it. We see the defense of it. We see the New York Times defense of it. They do come out and talk about, Huckleberry Finn. Oh, it's got old racist terminology. It shouldn't be in the schools. It's racist and insensitive. There was a big story about a kid who complained because they had to read the book and the book uses the N-word. And it's just like, okay, that's a book.
It uses the N-word a ton, but like, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of leftists who are on the other side of this, where there's a concerned campaign to ban Huckleberry Finn from schools. I think the thing is that Huckleberry Finn got adopted widely into the school system, both the U.S. and Canada, and that the Overton window has shifted, and I would say even more recently to the idea that, hey, guess what? It's been known for some time that non-black people shouldn't use the N-word. Black people get the exception because they've reappropriated it, but that's been known for a while. And the idea of someone, say like Tim Pool or Moonlord, they get really upset, big mad when they're like not able to say it, the sacred word. I mean, you can say it, you don't want to lose all your sponsors and get canceled and stuff like that. That's pretty much how it goes. I don't think it's unreasonable for people to be like, well, I mean, if we're going to be teaching this to children or teaching this to teenagers, then we should be able to provide context towards it. It's the same thing with watching modern versions of Disney movies that are super yikesy, like Peter Pan. Peter Pan's got a fuck ton of indigenous racism in it. Do I think that Peter Pan should be banned and never published again? No, but I think there should be a disclaimer. It should be like, hey, we would like you to recognize that this was made in a different age, and there are highly racist stereotypes towards indigenous people, and these are why, blah, blah, blah. Or even, this is going to be a wild concept, I know, as a parent, you could talk to your kids about these kind of issues. Like, you don't necessarily have to ban your kids from ever watching Peter Pan again, but maybe sit them down, especially in the times in the movie where it becomes incredibly yikesy, and then pause it and explain, by the way, this is incredibly offensive. Here's the reasons why. We don't think this way anymore. This was made in a different era and time where this was more socially acceptable, but it isn't. Times change. This is what happens. Enjoy the rest of the film. There you go.
Book, which is contextual history. It was written for a period, during a period, and we could address that critically and talk about it. That's fair. This book is literally labeled 18 and up and depicts sex acts between people, and that shouldn't be for children.
Yeah, and it's just something some pervert made because they want to show children and warp them. It's not as if this is something that's part of America's foundational classical literature.
No, this is bigotry, 100%. This is a coming-of-age story, and the whole point of it is because the person in question did not have this kind of a story available when they were growing up and had to deal with a lot of problems related to that. It's spoken about multiple times in the book.
That it would be important for a kid to know.
What concerns me is when someone is warped as a child and then grows up and warps children the same way they were warped, like the cycle of abuse, physical abuse. A kid's beat by their parents, they grow up and then they beat.
Man, Moonlord, these are old-timey stereotypes, by the way. Just the idea that if you happen to be gay or trans, the only reason that would explain that is childhood abuse, which does not bear out in the data.
Beat their kids. I hate to see the same thing happen with sexual abuse. And
So,
not saying that transgenderism is sexual abuse, but I would be afraid that some of it.
No, it's the exploitation.
Right.
When people are abused, their minds get
Moonlord.
pretty crazy sometimes.
When you have abusers masquerading as the LGBTQ
I didn't know Moonlord was that
positive,
far
whatever.
gone.
We've seen this. They try and sneak it under the radar. They make people look bad. They make the whole community look bad. But I think the left is so instinctive to defend any and all. You end up with bad people getting away with bad things because they'll just feign being part of some community. I want to mention Huckleberry Finn's in the Library of Congress.
Good.
1876
Good.
published.
Hell yeah.
I read like the first third of the book. I remember it was awesome.
I'm trying to think now too. I'm like, I honestly think when I was in high school, maybe not, maybe elementary school, but we did read it, and like, you know, you read it out loud, and I was like, man, if you were that kid who got that page,
Watch out.
Is that the one where
God damn.
where Huck was going down the river on the raft with Jim? Or is that Huck and Jim on the river?
What Jim? What was the first part? What was Jim called? And it wasn't just that one page. It's the character's name. It's repeated multiple times throughout the book. Just saying.
Yeah, that book's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, it's all the time, but yeah, it's like if you, especially now.
I'm not even here to shit on Huckleberry Finn. You know, I'm not a person who thinks that Huckleberry Finn is beyond the pale or anything. It's just, it's so funny that they've gone from being like, well, this over here, this is 100% hardcore pornography, and we must ban it from schools in every way, shape, or form. By the way, you know what's dope? The N-word book. It's got so many N-words. Oh man, every other paragraph.
PBS banned Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Why has Huck Finn consistently landed on the list of banned and challenged books? Because it talks about race and stuff like that.
It uses the
So,
N-word. But I mean, it's
absolutely.
Not, but it's the Jim is like the black guy, and they're good friends. Huck like has massive respect for the guy.
But isn't the
So, I mean, does that translate into everyday life? Are you cool calling your friends who are black the N-word? With the hard R, I'm going to add. It was with the hard R in that book, but it's just like, well, it's okay. It's fine. At the end of the day, they're friends. It's a cute relationship. And that was just the parlance at the time.
isn't the point of the story that like he's belittled for his race and it's completely unfair?
Yeah.
Yeah, he sees past that. Like,
It's such a good book, man. It was such a. I didn't finish the book, but it was so good.
I mean, it wasn't that good.
I was 12, I think, when I read it.
Can't allow it. But adult material that Amazon says is for 18 and up. Can I, my friends, if ever someone comes to you and they're like, what are you talking about? And you know, what's going on? And they don't believe you when you tell them weird stuff's happening. Just go to Amazon, look up the book Genderqueer, and say, what age is the recommendation? And
Well, that didn't quite work out for you and your team, did it? But hey, yeah, let's retcon the whole thing. That's what was truly going on. Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Just, we are prepared to embark on a mighty jihad in your name. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your humble jester, attempting in vain to get you to laugh. To our valiant knights of the Round Table, Benji Arnie, Tech Tink, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Mayred, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood. It doesn't matter what I believe, it only matters what I can prove. Egbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Daniel Sutton, Coulter Smith, Jenna Tao, Quiet 185, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, The Tim Caucus, Multimondi, Trevbot, EXE, Brian Ephraim, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojack, Saren 42, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Agent NDN, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We raise our mugs and salute our brave heroes off to another glorious conquest.